on a Monday night. Hope everybody is feeling great. Hope you had a restful and relaxing long weekend, jam-packed with college football. Tonight, we're going to talk about the best moments from an incredible week one. We have a bunch of stuff to share with you over the course of this evening's show. We'll talk about the biggest games. We'll talk about the biggest moments, who looked good, who looked bad. There was plenty to take away from this first week in the world of college football. We'll spend some time. When last we left you, the University of Tennessee had not yet played. It feels like it's been so long since we've had the opportunity to catch up. But since then, the Vols are 1-0, and the rest of the college football landscape looks much different than it did simply 3 days ago. We will talk about the best and the top 5 moments from this weekend in the sport. Before we do that, we also have, this is a free site, by the way, the best thing that I saw on the internet over the long weekend, given that we did not have a Sunday show. So we'll do that here in just a second. But first, I need you to share the show. I need you to retweet the show in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. You can do that in the bottom right-hand corner and just hit those 3 little dots. You can retweet this show. Clayton Smith on YouTube says these targeting calls are ridiculous on the Ole Miss game. Yeah, I've got it on right now. 23-0 Ole Miss over Louisville without Lane Kiffin on the sidelines. I would not have predicted that. But anyway, share this show on Facebook Live. You can share now to public. That's how the people will get things going on Facebook. T. Williams S9 says E equals MC square, Buck. Indeed, T. Williams. That is the formula to success. If you are hanging out on YouTube or on Twitch, please subscribe to the A to Z Sports channel, where you can get our live streaming content 7 days a week. It's week 1 for the NFL, week 1 for college football, almost in the books after this Louisville-Ole Miss game concludes. And Louisville is having a hell of a time right now. And now that more of you are here, we can go ahead and begin the show officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on a Monday night from the DraftKings Sportsbook Studios. I'm your host, Buck Rising, and I'm proud as always to be presented to you by the fine folks at Two Rivers Ford. Since 1983, Two Rivers Ford has been providing you exceptional award-winning customer service and quality American-made Ford vehicles, just like the Ford Bronco that you see there below. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. The Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage, the official real estate agent of the Titans, of the Preds, and of Prime Time. The Gary Ashton tailgate, 2 hours before kickoff between the Titans and the Cardinals. Come hang out. I'll be there on Sunday. I want to see plenty of you guys out there as well. Of course, DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Promo code A2Z Sports gets you in on all the action with all manner of great profit boosts and odds bonuses to DraftKings Sportsbook. Promo code A2Z Sports. And, of course, Brymak Mechanical, satisfaction guaranteed on all of your HVAC needs. They will put you in position to succeed. They will put you in your comfort zone, more importantly. Brymak Mechanical, B-R-Y-M-A-K, Brymak.com. It's a new football season. It's a new looking primetime show. You'll love to see it. We've got a new graphics department because the empire is growing. Zach Bingham is out there wheeling and dealing in the city of Dallas. Texas ain't ready for him. And so while he was out doing that, the entire network got a whole new look. So we're very excited to be back and ready to go with you. No breaks, all gas until February at this point. So with this weekend in college football, understanding that there's one more game left to go, and you might as well call this one in favor of they're not the Ole Miss Rebels anymore. What are they, the Ole Miss Black Bears? Either way, the Ole Miss team is going to beat the Louisville Cardinals tonight, pending a miraculous second-half comeback, which I would not anticipate. Again, there's another targeting call being reviewed. They are all over the place with this particular call tonight. It's the worst call in college football. But regardless, it was a spectacular weekend in the sport. It was so good to have it back and have it feel like normal, right? You know, for all the things that are going on. And I know that some people would have a moral objection to jam-packed full stadiums and crowds going wild and hugging and kissing and spilling beer and all these things that you shouldn't be doing during a pandemic. And I hope that nothing bad comes from it, because we need more of it each and every week. We really do. But I was so happy to see it back in some form of normalcy. And I hope that it continues throughout the course of the season for both college and for the NFL. I hope I see Nissan Stadium for the first time in my life. I have never seen Nissan Stadium jam-packed. I want to see it full to the brim on Sunday when the Titans play the Cardinals. But there's so much good that was taken away from this weekend outside of the football that was on the field. But tonight we're going to talk about the top 5 moments from this weekend in college football. And we'll start with your opinion on the matter. In fact, your Two Rivers Ford take. What was the best moment from college football this weekend? Give me your response. If you're new to this show, you can do it in the comment section on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. We are welcoming all comers wherever it is that you're viewing this show. I'm sure there's going to be a targeting call by the time you go to comment and by the time you hit send in the chat on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. There's probably going to be another targeting in the Ole Miss Louisville game, because this is insane. I think that's 4 on the evening so far, Clayton Smith. I believe you are correct in that regard. What was the best moment from college football this weekend? Let me know how you feel about it. But while you guys do that, I'll tell you about our friends at Two Rivers Ford, the best in the business, the best Ford dealership around. Not just the best Ford dealership around, but the best Ford dealership around, the best car dealership around, because it's the best car buying experience at Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet is an incredible place. In fact, here's the thing. Here's the thing that I was waiting until next year. I was going to wait until next year. But this week, I am going to Two Rivers Ford because it is time for me to get a new vehicle. The time has come. My 2012 Ford Escape Sugar, she's had her last ride. It is time to upgrade, and I cannot wait to do it with my friends at Two Rivers Ford. They put no pressure on you throughout the course of the car buying experience. It is the best experience around. It's why they continue to win awards for their customer service outside of just their incredible American-made Ford vehicles. Non-commissioned sales staff puts no pressure on you, so you can feel at ease while you're simply window shopping or making a legitimate investment in your future and in your family's future, because you want a Ford that you can rely upon, a vehicle that you can rely upon. All of those things can be found at Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. What was the best moment from this weekend in college football? I've got a top 5 for you. You thought because football started that list season was over? No. There's so many things to get to. And Ole Miss, Louisville is just trying so badly. It's a shame that they're wearing these fire hydrant red uniforms and being embarrassed on national television. But how can Ole Miss lose looking like that? I love the baby blues in the Ole Miss uniforms. Anyway, best moments from college football. Top 5 I will give to you here in just a second. Lewis Chesney simply says, anchor down. Yeah, Vandy made the list, but not for a good reason. I love Emory Jones, but can't help but want Richardson as my college QB1, says Stephen Cato. Clayton Smith says, best was Milton coming into the game and basically leading a comeback. Damn kickers, LOL. Yeah, Mackenzie Milton, man. That is definitely on my list. So let me give you my first 2, because Mackenzie Milton is number 5 on my top 5 moments from the weekend in college football. But the Notre Dame Florida State game, it ended up being a thriller at the end. And unfortunately, Florida State, for their sake, they iced their own kicker after he nailed this first attempt. It was such a bad situation by Mike Norvell. But Mackenzie Milton coming out on the field, the starting quarterback for Florida State, having to leave the game. His helmet got knocked off, did not come back in. It was Mackenzie Milton's moment, and damn if he didn't make the most of it.
Mackenzie Milton is going to come onto the field. 2 years away from football, recovering from the devastating knee injury after his amazing career at UCF. Transferred here, one of the most incredible comeback stories that the sport has seen. Catastrophic knee injury, that he suffered in November of 2018, and now he comes into the game here. Mackenzie Milton to pass. Welcome back to college football, Mackenzie Milton.
He goes out there. He's a medical improbability, right? Mackenzie Milton, who had one of the most horrific injuries I've ever seen in the sport at UCF 2 years ago. He hadn't played in a college football game in 2 years. Comes in, throws a completion on his first play, coming in cold off the bench. It was such a cool moment to see for those of us who love the sport and who love the stories in college football, because there's a great many of them this year. We're not done with this particular Florida State Notre Dame game just yet, though, because we're doing the top 5 moments. Mackenzie Milton, Florida State. I would have had it higher if it was not for the fact that they did ultimately lose the game. But Mackenzie Milton coming in and showing out on national television the way that he did in an effort to bring his team back from the depths. Florida State was down bad for a good portion of that game and really made an exceptional push despite, I thought, some really egregious errors by their play caller and certainly by their coaching staff, whomever was responsible for challenging that play that ultimately led to a shorter field goal attempt for the Florida State kicker, because he hit his from 50. But they iced their own kicker. It was such a bad situation. Mark Beach on Facebook Live says, that is a great story. Kim Taylor says, roll Tide. Yeah, we'll get to Alabama here in just a second. I told producer Reed's a diehard Bama fan. And I told Reed on our pre-show call this afternoon, I said, I'm so tired. I'm so tired of them winning all the time. It can't be fun for you. But indeed, he's enjoying himself because his team continues to club everybody that gets in their way to death. And we'll get to Miami momentarily. With the situation in college football, though, we're doing the top 5 moments from the weekend in college football. Also from that particular game was Notre Dame winning and Brian Kelly's post-game interview. Many people had a bit of outrage about it, but it certainly belongs in the top 5 for a joke that he tried to make that did not land at all.
What do you think of your team's ability to withstand Florida State's impressive comeback?
Yeah, I'm in favor of execution. Maybe our entire team needs to be executed after tonight. I mean, we just didn't execute very well.
So he's making a reference from 1976 that nobody my age certainly would get. It's just Brian Kelly on national television getting a joke off poorly and basically saying, yeah, I'd like to take the heads of every player on my team because of the way that we did not execute tonight. Now, the line, because John Glennon of Broadway Sports tweeted this, and I want to make sure that I get the line correct because I had never heard of this coach who uttered said line from 1976. It made absolutely no sense to me. I just started laughing out loud when I heard what he had to say after the game last night. But what he is saying in that particular moment is the coach that he's referencing goes back and, okay, so it's from John McKay from the 1976 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He said they're bad. They're really bad. 0-14 bad. After yet another loss, someone asked McKay what he thought of his team's execution. He couldn't lie. Of his team's execution, John McKay from 1976 said, I'm in favor of it. Now, it would have been a hell of a lot funnier if Brian Kelly wasn't trying to force the joke through, but he did, and it landed so badly because half the internet had no idea what he was talking about, but it still made for a hilarious moment in college football. Brian Kelly just not being able to get out of his own way in a win. So many great moments from the college football weekend. What is your favorite on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch here on A to Z Sports Prime Time? FSU versus Notre Dame. Norvell finally had those dudes playing. Absolutely. Absolutely he did. It was something that that I really did not expect because Willie Taggart had a lot of the same talent disparities and they were wretched for so long. And, Norvell's still getting his feet under him after coming over from Memphis, but certainly something that I was impressed with the way that he was able to come back. Karen O'Keefe says her favorite moment from the weekend in college football was Auburn winning 60-10 and moving up 10 in the rankings. Yeah, I don't know about all that. The FSU game for Alex Manns on YouTube. He agrees that Milton coming in. Jackie Holbert just sticks me right in the chest with Indiana spelled incorrectly was the best moment, not just the game, just the jersey. Yeah, they sucked on the field, and whoever is responsible for making their jerseys misprinted or misspelled Indiana on the front of the jerseys. And I wanted to fight somebody. It was such a brutal situation. Such a brutal situation for my poor Hoosiers. Darla says War Eagle. Yeah, big win for Auburn over the weekend. Certainly something to be impressed by with Brian Harsin. So elsewhere, we'll get to my top three here in just a second. We'll get to my top three here in just a second, right after I remind you about our friends at Brymak Mechanical, BRYMAK, Brymak.com, satisfaction guaranteed on all your HVAC needs. They'll put you in your comfort zone. The weather has already started to change. It's being, it was still hot today. I was out of Titans practice and it was still in the high 80s, but we are starting to cool off. The seasons are beginning to change. You want to make sure that your HVAC units are functioning at a high level for the next couple of months to make sure that you're in your comfort zone. Trust the fine folks at Brymak Mechanical, BRYMAK, Brymak.com. So, top three. How do you screw up Indiana, says 99 Bananas 007. Apparently quite easily, because my school is largely incapable of being any kind of respectable in college football. It breaks my heart. McKay went from one of the greatest college coaches at USC to expansion Bucks' worst NFL team, says Buka. Yeah, but at least his jokes were better than Brian Kelly's, because that was brutal. So elsewhere in the world of college football, speaking of getting embarrassed, the local team, Vanderbilt, whom I pull for, by the way, who breaks my heart consistently. Vanderbilt, who I love. It's the only college football team I've ever seen. Well, it's not the only college football team I've ever seen live. I have only been to Vanderbilt games as a college football experience. And this is why my love for college football had sometimes been diminished, because if a team like ETSU comes into your house and you're favored, preseason lines are kind of dumb, but if you're favored by 20 plus points, you shouldn't lose that game. In fact, that game should be close. And you most certainly shouldn't get the doors blown off as Vanderbilt did last night on West End. So I don't think we have audio for this, but this is a strip sack fumble recovery touchdown by East Tennessee State.
Right? But it's still, how many guys are in the vicinity? There's three guys. He's trying to fit it into a tight window. And DeLentz just takes off and he runs. And I agree with you, Mike. I am just not a fan of this rule. I don't even know. How was that really honestly taunting? He's not taunting. That's a great play by a defensive back.
That was Vanderbilt versus ETSU. I think it may be the worst loss. I mean, I asked Jim Wyatt of TennesseeTitans.com, and he's a diehard Vandy fan, even though he went to Tennessee, which is bizarre to me. But anyway, Jimmy goes to all these Vanderbilt games. He suffers through these things. And I asked him today at Titans practice, is this the worst loss that you've ever seen them have? And he goes, man, I don't know. I've seen some bad ones. But the level of football that ETSU plays, it's such an embarrassment. You cannot have the situation be what it is, and lose the way that you did in Clark Lee's debut. And I don't know what he was expecting. I don't know what we should have expected. Vandy shouldn't be favored by 20 plus points over anyone. My God! But ultimately, I look at this and I say that the situation for Vanderbilt, it's certainly the worst loss that I can remember them having in the last 6 years. I'm sure there have been some bad ones, but Vanderbilt down bad to ETSU over the weekend. An incredibly tough scene. Let's do the top two moments from college football over the weekend right after I tell you about our friends at Mark Jones. Johnson City, Tennessee, hell yeah, ETSU. Somebody just tells them, turn the caps lock off on YouTube. What are you going to do? But yes, some great ones. Alex Mann says Georgia's pass rush was insane. The Georgia-Clemson game was a lot of fun, even though it was low scoring. It was not like Wisconsin versus Penn State. And those two teams picked it up at the end, where the first half was just an utter slog to get through. But I really enjoyed the Georgia-Clemson game because of the competitiveness of the football. I thought was really good. I thought the defenses on both sides were fantastic. I thought Clemson's did its best to keep them in there, and that the fact that DJ has zero offensive line in front of him is really going to come up throughout the course of their season, even though their ACC schedule is not that difficult. I'll say ultimately, though, that they did not have a moment that necessarily made my top 5, because what I was looking for outside of great football moments was comedy, and there was some comedy to be found over the weekend. We'll do my top 2 here in just a second, right after I tell you about our friends at the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage at GaryAshton.com. Your dream address without the stress is what the Ashton team offers to you. They also offer to you the Gary Ashton tailgate. Titans, Cardinals, 10 a.m. before kickoff at noon at Nissan Stadium. You can find the Gary Ashton tailgate in the south, just in front of the south end zone, right across the street from the stadium. I'm going to be out there. They'll have cornhole. They'll have a selfie booth. They'll have food. They'll have drinks. The Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage, the official real estate agent of the Tennessee Titans. You can find him at GaryAshton.com. So the top 2 moments from the weekend in college football were this. We have to start with what happened between Alabama and Miami. My whole deal with Alabama and Miami is like I did not think that Alabama was going to be capable of winning, I did not think that Miami was going to be capable of winning that game. And I really did not think that they would be terribly competitive, but I did not expect them to get their doors blown off 44-13 with a team the Alabama team is entirely new. It is so absurd to see them year after year roll off these kind of studs and just cave. This is a top 15 team. Miami was the 14th best team in the country. And Alabama opened up and just stepped on their heads. It's not unprecedented because we've seen Bama do this before. But 44-13 is so ungodly to do to a top 15 team. I thought that the result for Miami, because I know a lot of Canes fans in my life, and I thought that the Miami result, if they were to lose and make it competitive, that's basically a win for them. The only way that it could go worse for them than losing was if they just got stomped. And 44-13 is an absolute stomping, but much less when you are down by a considerable amount, by double-digit points, you get a turnover and you put on that foolish turnover chain, you got to read the room. And much less to have the turnover overturned and then to have to revoke the giving of the turnover chain.
Yeah, you got to get the chain back, right? You don't get to keep it. No. You got to go back to work. But the celebration still stands. Yeah. You can't undo that. Back into the safekeeping place it goes. But this game is part of it.
This man put on the turnover chain down 27-0 and then had to give it back because the call was reversed. It was one of the most humiliating moments in a night that was full of humiliation for Miami. Truly a terrible scene. That was one of the Bama reloads, not rebuilds, says Puka. Absolutely. Johnny Lee says UCLA with a statement win over LSU. Coach O has to be a moment anytime he opens his mouth. God bless him, though. I hope that doesn't stop Coach O from trash talking. I know that's probably not what LSU fans want. I don't understand why we can't have a little joy and a little fun and make this a little bit of professional wrestling. Because I thought even though LSU kind of got handled by Chip Kelly and UCLA, which is not something I expected at all, much less to see UCLA 2-0 and playing pretty competitive high-level football at this point. They did make LSU look like chumps. The game itself was not as close as the final score indicated. And of course, UCLA had to capitalize on that moment by making fun of Coach O, who had some words for a UCLA fan pregame.
Hey, bring your ass on. Bring your ass on in your little sissy blue shirt.
Get the gag, till the third wall, pass it till the third wall, pass it, get the gag, till the 10th wall, pass it till the 10th wall, pass it, get the gag, till the 12th.
It was a brilliant moment. It was an incredible moment, the way that UCLA turned heel and turned the tables on Coach O. I hope it doesn't stop Coach O from trash talking, though, because we need more trash talkers in the game. That's the top 5 moments from college football over the weekend. It was an incredible scene, much less the football on the field, was miraculous. And we're going to be spending all day tomorrow on the radio and all week, not all week on primetime talking about it, because there's a Titans game as well that we have to preview. And I was at a Titans practice today. We'll talk about that later in the week, though. Today, we had to spend some time on the world of college football. Let's wrap things up, though, with a Titans question. What was what on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your excitement level for this upcoming Titans opener? Because I saw a video today, and we'll get to it. This is a free site, the best thing that I saw on the internet this weekend. I saw a video today that I don't normally go for hype videos, okay? But the level, especially for the team that I am most, that I am most, in my opinion, the team that I'm most unbiased about, the team that I do not, again, objectively, given my job as a Titans reporter, I don't root for the Titans, even though it is better for me when they have success, right? My job is to cover them objectively. And really, they haven't done much as far as like getting people juiced for the season, as I see the video that I'm about to play for you running on television right now on ESPN. This, I guess, is the commercial that they've just rolled out. So it's going to get the people fired up who are watching halftime of the Louisville Ole Miss game, because you're about to see this same thing here in just a second. Scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for this Titans season? While you guys weigh in, I'll tell you quickly about DraftKings Sportsbook. America's top-rated sportsbook app is DraftKings Sportsbook, and you can get in on all the action with the promo code A to Z Sports. DraftKings Sportsbook is offering you an incredible promotion for this coming NFL weekend. You can place $1 on Tampa Bay to not lose by 74 points, and they will give you $200 in free bets. It's one of DraftKings' incredible offers and something that they want to make sure you can capitalize on. All you have to do to participate is place $1 on any football game over the weekend. You can do this for the Tampa Bay game as well. But if you place a wager, $1 on, you can double your money rather on Tampa Bay as long as they don't lose by 74 points. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code A2Z Sports to receive $200 in free bets when you place a $1 bet on any football game. That's code A2Z Sports for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee to bet. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit and $1 wager required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789. How hype are you for this Titan season? I'm honestly a 10 out of 10 because they've got legitimate expectations and they know how to market this team. And they've done so with this video that I'm going to play for you right now.
Good, Tennessee. Let's go to work.
I'm working on a building.
In Tennessee, we love a lot of things. Music, barbecue, whiskey, and work. Now you might say, wait, work? How are you in love with work? Well, I'll show you. Let's see who's been grinding and loving. Roll call! Coffee guy, you putting in the work?
Tell me.
How'd you? Now that just looks like hard work. Get me out of here. I know this is supposed to be work, but it tastes like play. Ooh, how about bus driver?
Back at it.
Chief John, always on call. Can you test your levels real quick for me?
Sacked!
Ah.
We good?
I can't hear. I can't. What you say? How about those self-employed people? I see that Titan sticker. Hey, builders, you working? Lightning Ram, let's go. Mamas, electricians, bakers, leaders, musicians.
Come on, way to work.
Gym owners, beer brewers, rappers. Let's get it. And rappers with a W. Lawn care, hair care, trendsetters, boss ladies, and you, all across the whole state. I see you, Memphis. How about those boys from Tennessee back in the office? Not that office, this office. Yo, AJ, tell them you working.
I never stop working. That's what I do.
Woo! Simmons looking hungry. That's my guy. Dear Lord, that man is flying. That's not. Oh, dang. I'd rather be hit by that stampede that killed Mufasa than to be hit by Derrick Henry. Oh my God. As Tennesseans, this is what we expect. Nothing less. This, Jubilee Singers. Cue epic music.
1, 2, 3.
It's hard to say we're clocking in because we never stop. Keep up the work, Tennessee.